A Texas jury found 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony guilty of murdering 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in April of 2025 during a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. He was just sentenced to 35 years in prison. And to lay this all out for you, due to the rain, there was bad weather. The track events were delayed that day, and Anthony, a Centennial High School student, sought shelter under a Memorial High School tent. Moments later, an argument broke out, and Anthony was asked repeatedly to leave that tent. One witness claimed Anthony responded by calling the group a name before he reached into his backpack saying, quote, "Touch me and see what happens," end quote. After some shoving, Anthony pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed Metcalf in the chest, piercing his heart. Prosecutors argued that the killing was a provoked and unjustified murder. They called 21 witnesses. The defense argued it was self-defense. Karmelo Anthony did not testify in his own defense. Immediately after the jury's decision, protesters gathered outside claiming this was the latest example of Black lives not mattering.
But what this process did is shown that Black lives do not matter in Collin County. This trial showed that it put emotions over the law. After Trayvon Martin and so many countless names, it has shown us that Black life is not safe in Collin County.
Minister Dominique Alexander is the man that you just heard from in that video. He is a spokesman for the Anthony family. Minister, it's nice to have you on. You keep saying that Black lives don't matter, but no Black lives were lost here. A 17-year-old white person was killed. So what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is 35 years. Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. Yet at the end of the day, Black America repeatedly is told that self-defense is a part of the law. That a knife under 5 inches is legal in the state of Texas. That stand your ground is legal here in the state of Texas. But when a Black person try to use those same basic rights and laws, then we're not afforded those things. We're doing those things unjustifiably.
Well, that's not what a jury found today. Can you tell me, I know you know Karmelo Anthony well, why did he bring a knife to a track meet?
I can't comment on that. What I can do, I can't speak for Karmelo Anthony, but I can tell you that the state of Texas made it legal. So at the end of the day, if a person got a problem with it, they might need to call Governor Greg Abbott and tell him, why does this state have open carry laws? Why does it have brass knuckles and et cetera, right?
Stabbing somebody in the heart, though, sir, is definitely not legal. He could have just turned around and walked out of that tent at any moment.
And based on what you have been told about the situation, I can see how you can take that fact. But the levels of injustice that was done in this trial is not how I was told, right? But at the end of the day, that's the reason why we're going to go through a full appeals process to ensure that the facts are being told correctly. But me and you are going to go back and forth.
No, that's fine. Tell me, I'm curious. Tell me tell me what you think happened.
Well, what I think is the situation is that someone asked Karmelo Anthony to come over there. He knew an individual, but that's not being told, right? It's like, oh, a kid just randomly went under a tent, right? And he just sitting there. No one knows who he is. That's not the case, right? We know that Karmelo Anthony knew an individual. He knew a coach. He spoke about it. We also know that Frisco ISD should have counseled that. This wasn't just raining. We were under a tornado watch that day, right? And this should have been something that was actually...
Wait, you're telling me that because somebody invited him to that tent and there might have been a tornado warning, which happened all the time in Texas, that he was warranted in stabbing a 17-year-old kid in the chest, in the heart, and killing him?
That's not the case. But what you cannot do is put your hands on someone.
Well, you just told me that was the case.
No.
So is that the case? Because I want to know what the case is. I seriously do.
You asked me the first time, why was he under the tent or close or whatever it may be, right? The reality is that the state of Texas says that I don't have to, when I'm assaulted, I don't have to return the same level of force, correct? Isn't that the law?
Yeah, he
law.
was asked to leave that tent multiple times, and the prosecution called 21 witnesses. Hold on. The prosecution called 21 witnesses, and they all corroborated that. They all said that he was asked to leave the tent. There might have been.
They all didn't have, no, sir.
He was asked to leave the tent, so he could have left that tent at any time. He chose not to. That's why he's going to jail for 35 years.
All 21 of them did not have the same story. They did not have the same story. And that's why so many people outside of that courtroom is outraged right now. If you look at anything about this case, all 21 of them did not have the same story.
Tell me about the defense witness, because the defense did not call Karmelo Anthony. If Karmelo Anthony truly thought he was innocent, he's 19 years old. He's not a kid. He's 19 years old. Why didn't he take the stand in his own defense? And why did the defense's only witness change their story on the witness stand?
Karmelo Anthony testifying in his own trial is his own right, right? And that's a decision that Karmelo Anthony and his parents has to make, right? And that was a decision that was made through the legal process, right? And through this process, of course, there's going to have to be some major reviews, right? But as far as changing the witness changing what he changing his testimony, I'm trying to figure out how someone going to say he changed his testimony. Were you privy to his testimony prior to?
Well, he changed his testimony. He was, during cross-examination, he said that there was not an altercation under the tent, and he didn't witness an altercation. So I don't think that was something the defense was planning on, and clearly it didn't play well for this 12-person jury. Let me just ask you, can a black person ever just be convicted of killing a white person in this country without it becoming like a major race issue? Like some of the comments that you made outside the courthouse today, I don't know why you do that. You stir things up, you make it about race, and that could lead to rioting and protests and looting tonight. The bottom line is more people could get hurt. More people could get hurt.
I'm glad that you will say that, why do we have to bring race in the situation? The reality is that if you know about this
I didn't
case,
say we, I said you. Why do you? Why do you, Dominic? Not the black race.
No, let me make this very clear. As the president of the largest human and civil rights organization in North Texas, what I witnessed on April 3rd was white people going on posts in social media calling Karmelo Anthony a thug, not a 4.0 GPA, not a person that was
he's a convicted murderer tonight, so he's a thug.
Let me finish.
He's a thug. He's not a hero.
When you say a black man is bringing race, his race shouldn't have never been a factor. He shouldn't have never. Jake Lane, I don't see you calling out Jake Lane that said Karmelo Anthony should sit there and be hung from a tree and shot outside the Collin County Jail. I never brought race into this situation. We had to.
I didn't bring race into the situation either. You brought race into this when you made those comments that we played at the beginning of the segment, making this about race.
We had to make sure that due process is done. All we want is our rights and be afforded the same basic rights that everyone is afforded to, sir. And I'm sorry if I gotta talk about my race to make sure that I can have the same afforded right that a white man
Dominic, he had a fair trial, and you're certainly open. You can appeal that. But the last time I checked, it's not legal for white people to stab black people in the state of Texas either.
Hey,
Dominique Alexander, appreciate you being here. We got to leave it there.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.